Welcome everyone. Alex, if you could come take the podium, please. And our speaker is a man of mystery, sitting at the table.
Should I come up?
Please, please.
All right, hello everyone. So, I have a somewhat Herculean task, but Hercules did not fear challenge, and so neither will I. Both presiding and giving the platform after having never done presiding. I have given platforms here. I think I gave one. Maybe I'm misremembering. So, good morning, and welcome everyone to the Philadelphia Ethical Society, one of the most amazing and wondrous institutions in the entire city, and I say that with every fiber of my heart. I'm going to be presiding today as a sort of, what should I call myself, besides platformer? Member. I'm presiding today, I'm a member, and I'm giving today's platform. My name is Alexander Gutierrez, and I come from my father is from Mexico, so the Spanish pronunciation, Alexander Gutierrez, but you could call me Alex. So on Sundays, we take time to gather, we search for the best in ourselves, best in each other, and the best for all of life. And that mission is really what brought me here in the first place, and what's kept me here, and what keeps me coming back Sunday after Sunday. Not here every Sunday, I'm a busy man, but I try to make it when I can. I'd like to extend an extremely special welcome to anyone visiting us for the first time. We would love to get in touch and stay in touch because we have some of the most amazing people in the whole city, and we really want to build community with you. If you could email our community liaison, Miss Julia Gokal, at juliag@phillyethics.org. That is Julia and then G as in Gary. We'd love to talk. So next are some personal joys and concerns. There will be time later for general announcements. Here we have a space for personal sharing. And Mike, how long should this personal sharing take?
Probably not long, a few minutes.
Got it. Would anyone like to share an expression of joy or concern about your life or the lives of your friends and loved ones? Mike, do I call on people or do they just share?
Raise your hands and we've got a total slide.
If someone could pass that around. Julia.
Should I go up to the front? Would that be easier?
Yeah, talk about it.
That works here. Hello, my name is Julia. I'm the aforementioned community liaison. I just got back from a vacation in Virginia with my family. We were in the Appalachian Mountains, and I saw the sunrise almost every day for a whole week and got to go hiking for the first time in a long time. It was absolutely gorgeous and wonderful.
It sounds beautiful. Kate.
Yeah, well, so life is life. So my sister has Alzheimer's disease and she fell and broke her ankle pretty badly and has undergone surgery and now she's in rehab. So and that's in Voorhees Township, New Jersey. Where is that? So I have to go to and from multiple times a week. I'm on a train, bus, and walking. So it's it's been a little bit of a challenge. But you know, it is what it is, and we'll see what happens. And all I can do is try and support her and maintain some sense of, we want to get it out of us, which is really hard. Thank you.
Best of luck, Kate, and I wish you a speedy recovery and safe recovery.
Hi everyone, I'm Ash. I just wanted to share a personal, well, not really a personal concern, but just a concern for all of the people in Texas right now that are suffering insanely.
I'm sorry, what's going on in Texas?
Yeah, so there was a massive flood
My
in
God.
Texas recently, and it affected a bunch of summer camps, and there are at least 51 people dead, 15 of which are children, and that has been weighing on me. So, yeah, I just wanted to express that. Thank you.
This gentleman in the front, Richard in blue. Richard, thank you. I'm meeting so many people.
Hello?
I think Richard is going to go first. I'm so sorry. Or Richard, would you mind going after Manny?
I'm very good.
Raise at the same time.
Okay, very good. Manny and then Richard.
Hello, my name is Manny, and I'd like to share the personal joy of fireworks on the 4th of July. I had a great time doing that. Lighting them and then trying to run away just in time for get hurt. Just wanted to share that one.
Good morning, my name is Richard, and I want to share our grandparents' joy. We spent the weekend watching, first of all, my 9-year-old son play on the soccer tournament at Friends Life School on the roof, which was always quite interesting. And we just heard this morning that Carol's granddaughter, 8 years old, finished 5th in the diving contest at the pool.
Congratulations.
25. That's why we're here. Not only the Ethical Society, but the grandkids.
Wonderful.
Thanks. Anyone else?
Thank you. My name is Bill, and I am just grateful for being here at the Ethical Society. Whenever I'm feeling a little stressed, I come down here and always take away something of value and knowledge. And quite honestly, I don't even know what today's program is about. But I know I'm going to walk away from here learning something of importance, and I'm very grateful for that.
I'll try my best.
No pressure, Alex. Anyone else? Okay.
All right. Let's talk about some summer readings. So this summer, we're again including several readings, either from ethical culture leaders, such as our beloved former leader Hugh, or from other leaders describing what ethical culture means for him. I'm assuming that anywhere it says date with a question mark, I say today's date. Today is July the 6th. So here's a reading from the essay Spiritual Discoveries by ethical culture leader John Lovejoy Elliott. Those who belong to the Orthodox faiths claim that the authority of their faith rests on revelation, and that revelation is given in the pages of books and accounts of miracles and wonders whose nature is supernatural. But those of us who have long discarded the belief in the supernatural still are in the presence of revelations, which is the foundation of faith. We too have our revealed religion. We have looked upon the faces of men and women that can to us be the symbols of that which is holy. Next reading from a platform delivered at the Baltimore Ethical Society in the year 2000 by leader Judith Eckerson. It is not that we learn by doing, although that happens too. It is more that we discover ourselves when we are in the process. And we can never become more ethical people without the feedback from this world, not only the world inside our families and inside our ethical communities, but feedback from the world that is beyond our previous experience. Service and action put us in touch with the other. It is good for them and good for us, and that is our hope. Next is a reading from the essay. Oh, just do one? Okay, I'm so sorry. Oh, these are for, so I stole someone's reading. Sorry. I wish I had the Men in Black Forget Me thing that I did the second reading. Ooh, main program's my time, isn't it? All right, everyone, hopefully I don't screw this up. So, today's platform is kind of a labor of love that I created. I've been recently getting into the theory of Claude Shannon and introducing this theory to my philosophy background has opened new frontiers in my intellectual life. So we're going to be, let me go through the topic of today's platform. We are using LLMs, large language models like ChatGPT, to heal social division. And the name of this method I'm temporarily calling iterative, collaborative, emotional therapy, also known as ICE therapy. So we begin, as all things do, they just don't know, with the Golden King himself, Claude goddamn Shannon. So communication is central to any relationship. Everyone knows this. But what is communication really? Well, that's where Claude Shannon comes in. Basically, communication is information sent within a channel, like a tube, between two parties. So it's the easiest thing to understand in the world. Raise your hand if you ever used one of those little things where you hold a thing to your ear and there's a little cord and the other person holds the thing and you talk. Anyone ever? Yeah, okay, so that's communication in a nutshell. But, just one person call out. Is this communication perfect? Can you mishear each other? Yeah, all the time, right? Okay, so now all of you understand Claude Shannon. Congratulations. Basically, that interference is called noise. It can be physical noise, so if there's a lawnmower outside and you've got your tube thing going on, you're not going to be able to hear what your friend is saying. Or maybe there's a little hole in the tube, and your noise of your speech gets out the hole. Not all of it, but this is how waves work. They exit the tiniest little places and they decohere. Or maybe, unbeknownst to you, your little brother is strangling the tube in the middle, and your friend can't hear what you're saying because of that. You're yelling, "What do you mean? Where's my brother?" Your brother's strangling the tube. That's noise. This includes interpersonal communication as well as radio communication and the communication of the box, and the tube. So my contribution is just to give you all the metaphysics of what relationship noise looks like and is, using a handful of fingers that I've encountered in my intellectual travels. So what is the noise between you and the person you're trying to talk to? If you're right in front of them and you're in a quiet space, there's no lawnmower, there's no political bullshit on the TV. It's just you and your friend. So where is the noise coming from? Theoretically, it's impossible. Well, this noise can be all kinds of things. It can be your political differences. So if I say, I believe that assault weapons need to be banned, someone who's a Second Amendment absolutist hears something like, I am going to take your guns. That's noise. Differences in how you were raised. So let's imagine I say to my romantic partner, I want to give our children more freedom. My partner says, I want to put our children in danger. That's another example. Your past partners and friends and how they treated you. So let's imagine someone wants to, go on vacation with you and they say, let's go to the Florida Keys, it'll be great. If you have a history of being dominated by your partner, you might hear, I'm going to plan this vacation and it is the Keys and I don't care what you think. This is not the person's intention, but this is what the other person hears because of noise. There are more examples of noise, but I'm going to go to probably the noisiest social technology that humanity has ever created. Social, gosh darn media. When you're on Instagram, when you're on TikTok, you're filling your brain with some good stuff. Maybe you're learning how to make Chinese noodles at home. Some bad stuff. Maybe they're trying to tell you that Bernie Sanders is coming to take away your guns and your freedom. Right. That is noise. We are on our computers and our phones all the time. We live in a society of semi-addicts. We're all semi-addicted to these devices to some degree or another. And unfortunately, we kind of have to be, because in order to survive in this society, you need a smartphone. It's not negotiable. QR code menus, text messages, companies using apps to communicate, like GroupMe and things like that. We live in a world where the smartphone is no longer a luxury item. It is a basic need, whether we like it or not. And until the companies and the governments figure out whether or not this is good, this is the world we live in. And it sucks. We can't change it tomorrow. We can change it in a year or 10, who knows? So social media is the ultimate noise producer. Social media is not a lawnmower. Social media is not an elephant. Social media is a goddamn rocket, rocketing from Cape Canaveral all the time in our brains. And we want to turn it off, but we can't. Because these technologies are designed to make us addicted. Because by making us addicted, they take our money. Not our money, sorry, they take our data. Sometimes our money subscription models, but that's primitive. The real thing to do is to sell your data as a product. And this is Shoshana Zuboff. She has a great book about this. So unfortunately, there's a rocket ship going on all the time in our lives. So how do we get rid of that noise? Well, this is the pessimistic part of my talk. Don't worry, we'll come to optimism. You can't. You can't. It is impossible to fully get rid of noise from social media. It is impossible to fully get rid of noise from your political differences, from your past, from your trauma, and from your desires. It is not possible. In order to do that, you would need to literally turn off your brain. There is a word for this. It is called brain death. Because your brain is passively collecting information all the time. So the question isn't how to get rid of noise. The question is, what noise can we put into our minds and our bodies to begin healing the wounds that have occurred through political strife, through social media, through all of these digital technologies that promise to bring us together and then end up driving us apart. Noise isn't just error, it's independence. Codependence is when we're too linked as couples to be functional. And this can also be for friends. The scientists haven't written papers about this, but theoretically it's possible to be too connected with someone as a friend. You need independence. It's a chance to step back. Martin Heidegger believed that this is what separates us from the non-rational animals, the ability to step back using the will. It doesn't eliminate noise. You step back and you can allow new noise in. This is also similar to Jacques Lacan's idea from the psychoanalytic tradition, moving into the post-structuralist tradition in France, that you are never alone with your partner. He meant your romantic partner, but I think he needed a little more imagination. He really means any partner. Because his idea is that when you are with someone, the ghosts of the past and the present are with you. So, like I said before, you can't get rid of noise. Purity doesn't work because you either get ultimate difference, and that's called terminating a relationship. With no noise, you get codependency. We need to find a middle path. How do we do that? So, let me scroll down a little bit. The first step is to engage with the theory of Jacques Derrida. I'm not reading the book, just one basic concept. Jacques Derrida was a French post-structuralist intellectual who came up with, in my opinion, one of the greatest concepts in human philosophical history. It's called différance. We can call it différence, in fact, you like that. Différance is French for difference plus deferral. Difference, we all know what this is. I'm different from this microphone. I'm different from the computer. I'm different from the chair. This is not a chair, this is a podium. Deferral means that meaning is never final. It's just not. I'll give all of you an example. You are the best congregation in the world. I mean, the world is in Philadelphia. I mean, Philadelphia is in Rittenhouse. I mean, Rittenhouse is in the Ethical Society. You see what I did? By clarifying or changing my speech in time, I'm changing what the first things meant in the first place. That is difference in action. All it is knowing that meaning is never fixed. Still don't believe me? Shakespeare. When we read Shakespeare, some people who aren't trained are like, what on earth is this? But to Shakespeare's contemporaries, this was all perfectly reasonable stuff. But even though it's the same language, modern English, that's what the linguists tell us anyways, it's a little bit different for us. We don't quite get it. So, but soft, through yonder light, something like, but soft, through yonder window light comes. Ah, it is the sun, and it is Juliet. We wouldn't say but soft in everyday speech, but they would. We would say different things like, hold on. Now someone in 20 years or 100 years could say, hold on to what? The window? Why do you want to hold on to the window? The window is, there's nothing to hold on to, right? That's difference in action. So first, you need to understand that meaning is always deferred. You cannot have it immediately. It is metaphysically impossible. And it is metaphysically impossible to have perfect meaning because noise channels are always open to noise. Sorry, information channels are always open to noise, according to Claude Shannon, who's the golden king, he's right. So, we're in a bit of a pickle. Meaning is never final. We are being bombarded with noise, political noise, social noise, and the Cape Canaveral of noise, called social media. Seems we're kind of screwed, right? No, we're not. Here's how we solve this problem. I'd like to introduce you to the LLM, Large Language Model. LLMs are what we would call AI. ChatGPT, Claude, whatever. There are probably like 50 of them at this point. And you can make your own with enough coding experience and computer power. An LLM is not an artificial intelligence. It's just not. And it never will be until it gets a body. If you're curious about that, maybe I'll make it one of my Think Ethics seminars. All LLMs do is they're the world's greatest shovel. And we are the people who dig. We are paleontologists of the human intellectual linguistic corpus. And the LLM is a goddamn shovel. So, when you're using an LLM, here's what you're fundamentally asking it to do. Dig through the layers and layers and layers of published linguistic communication using your input as an algorithm. So I say, ChatGPT, give me an amazing recipe for banana bread. Here's what it does. The robot goes through the internet, anything publicly available, looks at a metric shit ton of banana bread recipes, probably 10,000 in the span of a second, and gives you one that you think that it thinks you'll like. There has been a big misuse of LLMs in recent years because people underestimate themselves. And this is not hocus pocus, I'm going to explain all of it. An LLM can do one thing, be a shovel. And it's not a self-driving shovel. It's not a shovel with hands and feet of its own. We are the hands, we are the feet, and we are the minds. All the LLM does, it simulates what people have already figured out based on what you want to tell it. That's all an LLM does. It's not smarter than you. In fact, it's much dumber. It can't ask questions. It cannot produce its own knowledge because the LLM does not have difference of its own. Human beings have multiple ways of collecting information. They're called the five senses. They're called memory. They're called the unconscious. And they're called language. If you multiplied all the information channels coming in multiplicatively, and then add a coefficient for noise in the system, you would get a really freaking big number. And it would be a number in bytes. And it would make LLMs look like a Matchbox car compared to Ferrari. Guys, we are the Ferraris. We're the Ferraris. LLM is a Matchbox car that can't even drive itself. You are a Ferrari that drives itself. That's miraculous. And that's one of the most humanist ideas in the world. So I got a little bit of a sidetrack because I get really excited by this idea. How do we use LLMs to solve social pain? So I'm giving everyone, this method hasn't been tested. It's been tested, it's been tested a little bit with me and my own partner. It's produced pretty good results. This is an individual method. I don't know how to take this method and make it collective, and maybe it never should be. So, here's what you do. First, you and your friend, companion, lover, enemy, anybody you want to talk to. Step one, type into your LLM a description of yourself. Give it your cultural background, give it your career, give it the language you speak, give it, tell it these things. Give it your desires, give it your values in your own words. Give the LLM a picture of the best person that you can be. Not aspirationally, but the person you can be now. So for instance, in my case, I give it, I want to be a philosopher. I want to be an academic. I want to start a labor union, right? And then I give it some things that more typical needs. So I'm a mixed race male. I'm part Italian, part Eastern European Jewish, part Mexican. My background is in philosophy, particularly continental philosophy. Self-employed as an entrepreneur, blah, 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 blah. Then your interlocutor does the same with their LLM. And then this is when the switch happens. You take your big paragraph that you wrote about yourself and put it into their LLM with one addition. Your interlocutor says, this is my interlocutor, blah. So let's imagine I'm talking to Stan. I would take copy and paste from Stan with no change into my LLM and say, this is my buddy Stan. This is who he believes that he is. Colon, paragraph. Stan then does the same for me. He takes my paragraph and says, this is my buddy Alex. This is who he believes he is, and this is who he wants to be. Colon, space, hit enter. Now the LLM knows who you are at your best. The LLM knows the person you want to be. The LLM doesn't know. It simulates knowledge of the person that you want to be in your own words. Here's what you do next. You just try and solve your problem. You can start shitty. You can start sophisticated. It doesn't matter. The robot already knows you. So let's imagine Stan and I have a disagreement about the best kind of banana bread. Let's say I want 2 eggs and he uses 1. So I would say to the robot, my buddy Stan uses 2 eggs. I don't think this is advisable. Give me language that Stan can understand about why it's better to use 2 eggs. And then I read that, give Stan language he can understand about why I believe it's better. Sorry, I got mixed up. Let me start over again. So let's say it's banana bread. Stan uses 1 egg, I use 2. I want to convince Stan that 2 is the best number of eggs. So what I do is this. Robot, you know my buddy Stan. You're a great dude. I want to convince him that 2 eggs is the best way to make banana bread. Explain it to him in language that he can understand. The robot knows what language he can understand because you told him. You told it how to understand it by telling it who Stan is at his best, based on his background, language, career, everything. And then the robot will take my words that maybe would be imprecise. Maybe I'm an asshole and I say, gosh darn it, Stan, it's always 2 eggs. Anything else is bad. But that's not going to communicate with him. So leave it to the bot. Stan is going to read my message and I cannot give him in judgment. Maybe it's better if I read it out loud. Maybe it's better if he reads it. I don't know. I haven't tested the model. But then Stan is more likely to understand. Now, if it's bad, you just do it again. You say, robot, Stan didn't quite get that message. Then you can tell it what went wrong. Maybe Stan got defensive. Maybe Stan's a 1 egg purist. Maybe Stan was confused. What do you mean 2 eggs? What do you mean 2 eggs? Why use 2? It's gonna make it goopy. You take Stan's response, feed it back into the LLM, and say, give Stan language he can understand. Then you do it again. And if it doesn't work, you know what you do? You do it again. That's why it's iterative. You don't stop until you need to, like it's like 12 at night and you go to sleep. Or you need to wake up in the morning or some other material factor like that. You just keep going. If it's not working, what you do is you give another paragraph about yourself and about Stan. You start over from that step. But the robot will remember the first one. That's just a speed up process. Theoretically, you can do this without doing the speed up. But you iterate. That's the I in ICE. Collaborate. You've got to collaborate. You're collaborating with the LLM and with your interlocutor. It's got to be in good faith. You both need to come to the table, even if you despise each other. Totally fine, the method still works. But you need to come to the table expecting to learn something. If you are completely arrogant, you will not learn this method. This is what the therapists have figured out when they say that the first step in therapy is knowing you have a problem. But problem is difference. Problem doesn't have to mean a bad problem. Problem means a problem to be solved. You keep doing it until you can't because of material constraints, or until you're satisfied. And eventually, maybe we're both wrong. Maybe the correct egg amount is 1 3/4. That sounds weird, but you can make it